Okay, so we're going to get started. If you are following along, go into Paragon, and we're going to start off by pulling up a property, and then I'm going to show you the links to get to everything. So I'm going to turn my camera off too, and so you have a better view. And just give me 1 second here. Let me pull the screen off so you don't see all the background. Okay, so you should have a better view now. Okay, so I am right now in Paragon, and I pulled up one of my listings that I just closed on, and I'm going to actually pull this into BSNA, and then we'll also pull into Realist as well. So if you'd like to use my property, you are welcome to. If you have another property you want to work on, you are welcome to put that in as well. But that property address that I'm using is 31029 Bretz, B-R-E-T-Z, and give it a second to load, and you should find it. Down here, it will say listing, click on it, and it should pull a full report for you. You want to be on one of the agent views, so I'm on a legacy full agent view right now, so that's where I'm going to be going from. So from here, we're going to start off with BSNA. So you have two ways to get to both of the sites, BSNA and Realist. At the top of your screen, if you click the tab that says tax, you'll see under tax data, it will say Realist, and then the second section will have BSNA online and also St. Clair County website. So if you're looking for St. Clair properties, you'll want to go through their website. So that's the first way you can get through. But now we're going to look at properties, and if you want to find information about one specific property, you can go directly from the link. So I'm on the legacy full agent view. If you are on the full report with the agent detail with map, your little icons here will be in the center somewhere, but what we're looking for is a little blue icon with what's called, it's supposed to be a pillar. It looks like a garbage can, but it's supposed to be a pillar. If you hover over it, it should say BSNA online free. So if you click on that, it is going to pull the information from that property into BSNA, so it'll give you BSNA records. Now, what is included with my real source is all of Macomb County, St. Clair County, and all the gross points. So if you are looking for a house within those property areas or those locations, there's no charge for getting the records. So once you click on it from Paragon, it will take you directly into BSNA and pull the information for you. If you are pulling a property, say for Oakland County, and there is a charge, then you will have to pay for the charge on that. And not every city charges, but some do. So, and I believe those have gone up, unfortunately, but they're, my realtors are taking care of the charges for Macomb County, St. Clair County, and as well as the gross points. So hopefully that will help at least. And like I said, they'll save you some money. But let's take a look at BSNA, and you can see here we've got the property address. Now, the difference between BSNA and Realist, BSNA is the city websites. It's taking you directly to each city with all their information. Realist is a third party. They're getting the information from the city and creating the Realist site for you. Now, always double check the information, because even BSNA records, sometimes city records are not correct. So I always double check both. But I always pull BSNA when I'm putting a listing in, because you'll need all of your parcel number, legal description, all this information is in here, your SEV, your taxable value, and so forth. So let's take a look at this one. So again, you've got the address at the top, parcel number underneath it, which you'll need, owner's name. It will give you some of the information about the property itself. The assessed value is here as well, and your taxable value. And if you go down a little bit further here, owner and tax paper information is here. General information for tax year. So this is your 2025. So you'll need these numbers for your listing. Your assessed value and your taxable value are right down here. And if you are trying to work out taxes for your buyers, this is really important. This assessed value is going to help you determine approximately what the future taxes will be for a new buyer. So you can use that and go to the state property tax estimator and use that assessed value. You'll need that, the school district, the city, and that will give you an approximate value, which is great. I use it for all my buyers. Go down a little bit further here. It does show it's 100% homestead. Now this one just closed, so they haven't updated everything, but if you go down further, you're going to see the last 3 years of tax information, and as far as the taxable values and SEVs, the land information as well, gives you the school district. It's going to give you your lot sizes. Again, this is all needed for your listing. Down further, sales history. So this house is the original owners. So you can see there's no sales records because they bought it from the builder back in the 1960s. So you're not going to see anything that far back. You go further down, building information is here. So you've got your square footage, you have your foundation size, so your basement area is in here as well. And then it's going to give you the breakdown again. It shows that there's a slab, which the slab is running underneath their family room and their great room. Go down further, talks about the basement again, garage information, and porch information. So again, most of this you will use for your listing. So I always go in here, I pull this information, put all this into my data sheet. So as I'm getting my listing package ready. Go down back up to the top, you do have a couple tabs here. So to the right, just under the photo, to the right of property information, there's tax information. You click on that tab. It's also going to give you their taxes for summer and winter. Now, the nice thing here too is that there's a little arrow here to the left of the year. If you open that arrow up, it will actually give you what the breakdown is and how they're being charged for their millage rate. So you can see all that in here as well. Again, great information. You can see too if there's anything due that has not been paid. It's always important as well. And then if you go up to the top, the third tab is your building department. So if any work's been done on this property, you can check to see if permits have been pulled and if they expired or if they were approved. So they've done multiple things as far as like furnace and roof. So they did pull permits. If you click the view here, you can actually see what the permit was and what it was for. So it looks like residential addition. This is where they added their great room in. So they added to the sunroom and they made it a huge great room. And it tells you, like I said, everything that's been done and when it was approved and so forth. So a lot of good information, again, for your listing and for your buyers as well. Okay. And then the only other thing in here, I think I wanted to show you, looks like let me go back. So these are your records. It doesn't have anything for, go back to the department. If they have any bills due or any fines, that's the other thing I want to make sure I show you. If they do have a fine or anything, you will see that listed here. So for example, sometimes these foreclosures, grass hasn't been cut, there's outstanding bills and so forth, those will be in here as well. So it's a great place to check, like I said, for information for both. And then if I wanted to pull another property, I'm right now in City of Warren. You can just type up the address up here at the top. And and one other thing, if you are doing a report for your client, say you're doing a CMA report and you need a photo, please do not use someone else's photo that was a listing prior. Copyright laws are huge and people are taking people to court over it. I mean, it's just not worth it. This is city information, tax records, it's public knowledge. You can take this photo and save it and just use it. I know this is a really old photo on it, but it doesn't matter. I did use this for my CMA report, and at least it just has some photo, or drive by the property, take a picture from the outside and use that. Okay. So now let us go back. If there's any questions about BSA, I'll look right now real quick. You can just type it in the chat bar over to the right, and then, or in the questions bar, either one. I don't see any right now, so hopefully everyone's good with that. So let's move forward. So let's get into Realist because there's a lot more I want to show you in Realist. So I'm going to close out my BSA record, which is this tab here. I'm going to go back to Paragon, back to my listing. Okay, so in here, we're going to take now the link that takes us into Realist. So again, like I said, Realist is a third party, so you want to make sure you double check the information in here, but it does give you a little bit more information than what you're going to see in BSA. So if you look for the red icon, it will, if you hover on it, it'll say Realist Property Detail, and again, it should be on the left if you're on Legacy Full Agent. If you're doing the Agent Detail with Map, it should be in the middle. Let's click on that. It's now going to load all the information that Realist has for it. Okay, so at the top you can see here it has a property address, your parcel ID numbers on here as well, owner information, gives you some community insights and median home value and so forth. Location information, your school district, the subdivision, again, you need that as well for your listing. Tax information, there's your property ID number again. Again, your same thing, your summer taxes, winter tax bills, and your SAV, taxable value. And then it also gives you the last 3 years as well of information for tax records. And then go down a little bit further. Here's all the characteristics. So one thing I want you to notice here when you're doing Realist, you will see a little bit of a difference here on some of the items because you'll see here it says, for example, total baths. Tax records are saying 3, MLS says 4. There was 4 because the basement had also a half bath. So double check this information, especially when you see there's 2 different values in here. You want to make sure it's correct. But like I said, half baths, there's 2. They're showing 1 because they're not showing the basement bath that was added in. Sales score. I really don't use this. Again, it's supposed to give you a score of what is the chances of them selling this home. Obviously, the higher the number, the higher the chance. And then if you go down further, listing information. So I was a listing agent on this. And again, this one closed already. We just closed on it. And it will show the last market sale and sales history. So you can see when it sold before this. And it looks like they had a sale price. It does show 1994, which it didn't show in BSA. So in 1994, it looks like they did a sale price of 120 on it. So it was an estate, and this was his family's house. So I believe that he ended up buying the siblings out at 120. It's what he ended up buying it back in 1994. And you go down a little bit further. This is great information. Your mortgage history, especially for your buyers, if they're writing an offer, kind of gives you an idea if they've got still a huge mortgage balance left. But it will show you every year that they've either refinanced or taken a mortgage out. So these were all refis because they've owned it quite a while. And then their last one, what they're refi. Now, it doesn't show you what their balance is, but it will show you the amount that was taken out by that year. So you can kind of get an approximate idea of what it is. So, and okay, so now I'm going to have you take Realist, and we're going to pull this information, and we're going to actually do comparables right in Realist. Now, I like using Cloud CMA. I usually go in Paragon, I run my search, and then I will create my Cloud CMA report. Realist, the advantage, if you need to do this, not everyone needs to, depending on the location of the property, is that you are going to see tax records, which includes for sale by owners. So if you're running in Paragon, you're only seeing anything that was listed in the MLS. If you're doing it in Realist, you're pulling for sale by owners. So if you go to the top of your screen, it says Launch Realist, and then in the middle says Comparables. So go ahead and click on Comparables for me and give it a second to load. And I've done both, where I'll run in Paragon, pull my comps in there, create my Cloud CMA report. Then I can actually pull properties from here that are for sale by owners, put those property address into my Cloud CMA report and add them in there so that I can include them as well. So there's different options that you can do in here. So, all right, so let's take a look at what we have here. So at the top left, you can see property address again. Underneath that's property ID number. And then to the right of that, you can see these tabs that we'll be using. First thing is to generate report. So once we have the comps that we want to use, we'll generate the report. Then you'll be able to print, email as well. You can see the customized view, and we're going to look at search criteria. That's the next thing. Under here, there's a map, and all of these balloons are the properties that it's pulling. So it's automatically running comps for me. We're going to go into search criteria, and I'll show you what it's using for that. It does give you a summary of the statistics of your high, low, median, and so forth. And then under there is all the properties. So if you go back to the top right, this tab here, it says search criteria. Go ahead and click on that. This allows you to modify what it's searching. So first thing is you can pull up to 50 comps. I've got mine maxed, but you can change that on the drop-down menu. How do you want to sort it? So mine are sorted by square footage. So the ones that are closest in square footage to the subject property is what you're seeing first. But you can change that if you want to go by distance, sales record, recording date, the sale price itself. You can just click on that, and it's going to resort it for you. Do you want to include your property images? Yes, absolutely. Do you want to include those values? So there's automated values in there, projected by the assessment square footage, and then the real automated value models in there as well. If you don't want to see these automated values on it, you can turn all these off. But I'm going to keep everything on so you can see what it looks like. Pool, there's no pool. Oh, well, there was a pool. There is a pool, actually. They ended up taking it down for the new buyers because they didn't want it. So I'm going to leave mine as no preference. When you're running a search, you can put that in there. The problem is sometimes if they don't have this stuff selected, then it's going to miss those listings. So I'm going to leave it as no preference right now. So it just pulls everything. How far do I want it from the subject property? You can go up to 10 miles. Obviously, in the city, you want to keep it around a mile. Sale price, you can put an average of minimum and highest sale prices you want to see. Same thing with year built. If you're in an area where there's a lot of new construction and it's an older home, or it's new construction and there's a lot of older homes in the area, you can modify that by putting in a year built, whether a minimum or the maximum range. Bedrooms, you can put in same thing, bedrooms, bathrooms, stories. You can put in the minimum to the maximum. Now stories, be careful, because if you do put stories in, you have an option of one or two. It doesn't give you an option for like a bungalow or a split level, so 1.5. So be be careful with those. So usually I'll leave this open. Tax distress sales, what do you want to include? I like to include all tax sales. So that's going to give me my first sale by owners, my foreclosures, ones that were sold in the MLS. Boundaries, is it by subdivision, zip code, city, by the same municipality? If it's a condo, this is always good to use to try to keep it within the same condo complex. Site influence, is it on a water property? Is it by the airport? Is it on a beach? Oh, you do have different options in here as well. I like to see it by the date type is the sales day, because obviously we know recording date's always after the fact, and sometimes it takes them a while. My time period up to 12 months back. Right now the market's a little crazy, so I'm going to go 6 months, or you can do a date range as well. The square footage that you're searching. So I try to go what appraisers typically use. So 20% above and below the square footage of my subject property. Lot area, if you're dealing with acreage, it does give you an option too, as well as a percentage of difference. And then you have 2 sections here for the type of property it is. So land use and style. So this is kind of like Paragon. So we always tell you to use the structure style, not style. So you want to use land use. So you want to same as subject, and you can select single family or condo. If you start using these options here, like bungalow, that should have your ranch in here, whatever, any one of these that you select, you probably won't see many options as far as results. So I stay away from this whole section. I just use the land use. And then you have 2 options. You can either submit it and just save it for this search, or if you do save and submit, it saves as a default. So next time you come in here, it's going to be the same thing. So now if you selected things that were specific to the property, like pool, or as far as how many bedrooms and so forth, you might want to just submit it. But if it's pretty broad like mine, you can save and submit, and it's going to reload your results. Okay. So now let's take a look at what we've got. We go down here further. Let me see if I can a bit bigger for you so you can view it. So down here, you'll see all the property addresses, and I changed the selection to price. So instead of it going by the square footage that's closest to my subject property, is going by price. So this is the sale price it's showing. So my property is showing the 120,000 it sold originally as for sale by owner, but then it shows the MLS sold price here. Now, you can see 2 sections, sale price and MLS sale price. If it says sale price, that's typically a for sale by owner. If you see MLS sold price and it matches the sale price, then it's going to be sold in the MLS. So that's how you can tell the difference if they've got anything listed for sale by owner in here. So you can see some match, some don't. Now you're going to select which ones you want to use for your report. So I'm going to go down all the way here to the left, and you can see everything checkmarked. So there's 17 properties. It's selected all of them. If I want to see more information, which I typically want to see photos, I'm going to go over here, and where you see the camera, those are the photos. So for like this first one here on Meadowbrook, if I click on my camera, it's going to load the photos for me. And then I'm going to go through each one of these, and I'm going to take a look and see how well does this compare to my listing. So notes, we will look first. There's a lot of photos. It might take a minute after this. 3 or 4 photos here. So you can go ahead and click these arrows and go through each of the photos. And now I can tell, okay, is this one updated? How is it comparable to mine? Which so far look pretty similar. And just go through all the photos. And then if I think this is still a great comp, then I'm going to go back. I'm going to close that X out, and I'm going to keep my check mark next to that. Now, since this one's sold, I'm actually going to drag over, and this is just like an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm left click and I'm dragging over where it says MLS sold price. I'm going to here and the sale price, because I want to be able to see these. So I'm going to go more by that than I am going through the photos, just because of the sake of time for the class. So I'm going to go in and just select some of my higher price, because mine sold for $385. So I want to find things that are similar to that price. And again, you can, like I said, modify this, which is nice. And if you want to resort this by a different section, like if I want to go by this MLS sold price, I can just click on the header, and it resorts it. So now I went from low to high. And then if I click on it again, now I can go from high to low. So I'm going to go ahead and just select a few of these so we can use them as a comp, and then I'm going to unselect some so we don't have so many. It's going to take forever to load. Remove lower priced homes here, because most of these are not. This one with their add-on and their great room, it was about a 2,400 square foot house, so made it much larger. Let's just these. Okay, so I still have probably like 7 or 6 left, which is perfect. Okay, so let's generate a report now and take a look at what the report looks like. And so you go back to the top of your screen where it says generate report. You're going to click on that. And it's probably going to take a second to load. And this is what your client's going to see. This is what you'll be sending them. You can either print or email that as well. So again, you can see the map is here at the top. And let's go down here. Here's my search criteria that was used. So again, this is what I selected when I went into my search criteria and adjusted a few things. There's the statistics again. So it's going to show you my subject property. And then it's going to give you the averages with the area from with. And then here are your comps. So I have my subject property here on the left, and this will stay here. And then you've got your comparables right here. So to load the next one, because you can see here, I can only see really the first 3 and part of the 4th one. There's an arrow here. It's really light to the right. And if you click on that, it loads the next property for you. And again, if you go through these, you can see on here for sales records, let's go up here, your sale price and then your sold price. So again, this one sold, there was a sale price of $290,000 is for sale by owner. And that was in 2023, and then it just sold again in the MLS for $327,000. Again, great information. If you are having a hard time finding comps for a property, this is great because again, those for sale by owners are otherwise more difficult to find, and you won't find them in Paragon. So this will at least help with that. So now if this looks great and I'm happy with it, then now I can just either print or email it. If I need to go back, you have the edit report here and it'll take you back and you can adjust again. But let's look at the 2 options to print and email. So if you click on print, you can do a quick print, which will just print everything, or customize it. So let's click on customize print. And you can see here it has selected my property detail, the photos, neighbors, comparables, neighborhood profile, which actually I'm going to walk you through each one of those sections as well. This is new, and it looks like you can pull building permits. Now, it says add to cart, so I'm assuming there's a charge for it. So I don't know if it'll let me select it. It's not. So I'm wondering if you have to prepay for these as well. This was not here before. But to print this now, you just hit proceed. It's going to take a minute to process and create it. And then I'm going to show you the different sections that it gives you in here. And it's just going to create a PDF for you from here. And then, so it's not going to print it right away. So you'll have a PDF that will download to your laptop or computer first. Once it's processing, and then I can show that to you just creating the PDF now. Again, with it being so many properties and so many pages, it just takes a minute or so. It's probably a good time to grab a coffee or something while you're waiting, but be out in a second here. And then I can show you what it looks like. It looks like we're good. Alrighty, still processing. So this is taking a while here too. I'm going to hit cancel just because I don't want to waste any time. I want to show you the sections real quick. So let's take a look at those. So if you look here at the top, you can just see them from here as well. To the right of comparables, you've got market trends. So this is one of the sections. So this is going to give you an overview of the market, what's going on. So it gives you more statistical information, graphs, and so forth. So average price per square foot, number of sales, change in sales activity. And then if you go to the top again, to the right of that is neighbors, like the neighbors one. This is where it will pull every property around, and you get to select how many you want. I have mine set up for a default already. Otherwise, the system has a default for you for the number of them. But this will pull all of the neighbors and tell you what they paid for their houses, no matter what they bought it. So like you can see here, this was 2014. Let's see if we go back further here a little bit. Some of these are not showing anything because they're probably original owners. 2021, 1994. So if you want to check out what your neighbors paid for their houses, this is a quick way to do it. It pulls everybody up for you. So, and then to the right of neighbors, you have a neighborhood profile. This is going to give you a little bit more information about the area itself. Some of this information is good. Some of it, I'm not sure if your clients would really use it, but it gives you your population, the age in the area, This is interesting. It tells you how many percentage of female to male in the area. I'm not sure if that's helpful. And even better, it tells you if they're married, single, divorced, widowed, or separated. Thought it was very interesting. Housing information, the median home sale price, the age. This is great. Occupancy, I love this. Tells you how many are rented, how many are vacant, how many are owner occupied, which I think is really good information. It gives you fair market rent in the county as well. I don't know about quality of life and workforce. I don't know if it matters how many are white collar or blue collar, but it gives you that information as well. I don't know if you really need to know the household income, but that's there. Commute method, again, weather, I'm not sure how important that is, but education to me is important if you've got a family. So it tells you the highest level attained in that area, how many, degrees, with degrees as far as colleges as well. Then it shows you the schools, which again is very important. It will give you the distance of the school from the house, what grades, how many students per teacher. Again, love this information. It tells you the rating with Great Schools Rating, and then it gives you community rating as well. So again, great information if you're dealing with a family as well. Okay, to the right of neighborhood profile, it does give you a flood map. There's no water near this area, but it's always good to look. It tells you flood zone determination is out. And if you scroll down here, obviously you can see here's the house. We're not far from Red Run, so that is what's showing up here. A zone, B zone. It shows you the different zones. So if it is a flood zone, you're going to see if they're in the flood zone or not. And these pull, I believe, from FEMA maps. The other information, I believe, is there's a charge for it. So there's hazards and risks. And again, I have not used this information, but if you need to know about crime risks in the area, wildfires, I wouldn't be as concerned about, but the crime risk in the area, it's $9.99 to unlock the report. I'm not sure how many reports it gives you, if it just gives you this one, or if it's a membership, where you get them so often. But if you're interested in that, you can add it to your cart. Premium, neighborhood reports. Again, these are all, there's charges in all of these, so you can see what they are. And there's always a sample if you want to take a look at them. Okay, building permits report. Yep, there's a charge. So this is new. So it's $9.99 if you want them to pull the building permits for you as well. But you can see that also in BSA. All right, so we've gone through what the report looks like. Let me see if I can get this now to do an email of it. So let's try to email. Let's see. And let me zoom out. And too much or what? Let me go. And oops, I hit the wrong one. The report again. Give me 1 second here. It wasn't letting me select the printer email tab, so I just pulled that up. That was probably because I was on the tabs that charged. Okay, so now let's try to email since the print was giving me a problem. Customize email, same thing. So everything's check marked. Again, if you don't want one of these sections that we just looked at, you can uncheck them. Proceed. What this will do is create an email window, and you'll email it right directly from here. If you don't want it sending from here, you can send it to yourself and then forward to your client. It will show your name, though. It will show coming from you. It's not going to show it's coming from Realist. So if you do decide to email it, you can. Let's see if we can get this one to work. And if you want to send a copy to yourself, you can, so you can see what it looks like. As soon as this processes, and hopefully it won't take too long here, I can show you what it looks like. I don't know why things are running a little slow today, guys. And in your email window, if yours did pop up, hopefully yours is faster than mine. If it did pop up, you will see that there probably isn't a signature there. So you can type up a signature line, which I'll show you in the end in preferences as well, and save it. That way, each time you send it to your client, your signature and information will be there. Oh, perfect. Okay, so here we go. Email. And there it is. So you can see it's my email address. So they're going to reply to me. It's going to show it's coming from me. It will say, Realist report here. Again, you can put in whatever you'd like. And then it will show you the information about the property, the address. You can type the message, and then I've got my signature line here. Now, the signature lines, you can't really do much. You can't pull in pictures or logos or your actual signature photo. You can only type this information in. And then I can now send this. So if I want to send this to myself, I can. So I can just type in my email address and then just hit send. And that's it. It's that simple. So, email cannot be sent right now. Wonderful. So we've got something going on here. I'm not quite sure why. I'm trying to figure out what is going on. Click here and see. Not seeing why it's not going through. So let's see here. I do have somebody who asked a question. Question box. Okay. On price, how do you know if the price was listed lower and then it went up with highest and best for it's for sale by owner? So I'm trying to see, hold on one second, I'm trying to understand the question here, just so I make sure I answer it correctly for you. So on the price, how do you know if the price was listed lower and then it went up with highest and best? Okay, so you're not going to really see, I think I understand what you're saying. So you want to see what the list price was versus the actual sold price compared to what it's, for sale by owner. So like for sale by owner, you're not gonna be able to tell. Again, all you're gonna see is recorded what the sale price was of the property. You're not gonna see anything about what the listing price was. So that's the price that you're looking for. Same thing with the MLS price, you're gonna see the sold price because now you're pulling comparables, so you should be able to see the prices sold. Now, you can pull active properties and see what they're listed for in here as well. But if it's sold, you're seeing the sale price on it. And when we pull one of the properties, we'll take a look again. But I believe, actually, let me take a look here on the details. Let me see for my listing. It might actually show the list price on here. Give me 1 second here. Let me double check. I really haven't looked at that section before. I haven't had that question before. So no, I only have this. Oh, here it is. Yep. So my listing information. So when you're on the property details itself, it will give you the MLS list price and it will give you the sold price. Now for sale by owner, I don't believe you're going to see that information, but we will pull one up to double check because again, I've never looked for that before. So hopefully that answers your question. And if it doesn't, please let me know. Okay, so let us continue. I have a lot more to show you in here, so I'm going to take you out of Realist and take you back into it, so I can take you into the dashboard and the search options. Is there any other questions right now with this part? And again, like I said, we'll pull up a for sale by owner that's sold, and we'll take a look at that as well. Okay, so I'm going to actually close out my tab. If you want to leave it open, you can, but I want to show you what your view is if you go the other way in. So if you go back up to Paragon, into your tax tab up here, and I go to Realist, the view is a little different going in, but ultimately you're going to get the same thing. So if you need to search a property that's never been listed, say I'm getting a listing, it's never been listed before, and now I need to pull information about it. Well, you're going to go directly into Realist and run the search here. So this is your dashboard. It does give you some quick stats in the area, what's going on. It also gives you the average sales price and change in sales activity. And you can select specific counties and change this as well. And it gives you some property market insights, anything you save. So when I have a property open, I'll show you there's a star. If you select that star, then it gives you an option to save them into your saved properties, and then it's easier to go back to them. And then it gives you some inland industry news as well. The properties that I have viewed, so you can see all the ones I've gone through. And then my saved searches here as well. So now I'm going to go back to the top and I'm going to select search. So I go to my search. And we are going to do a few different things in here to modify this. Once you get to this, I want to show you here, there's multiple counties selected, and we're going to change county first. So go ahead and select change county. And I want to make sure you select all the counties that you possibly may be searching in, because if the county is not selected, you won't find that property if you're running a search on something. So you'll want to go in here and just check mark whatever counties that you might be searching in, working in, and so forth. So you can select 12, and I think I've got 8 in here. So just come back in here and just go ahead and select the ones you want. If there's something in here you don't want, just uncheck it. So it's that simple. So lane. I think of any other place clear to have in there as well. And let's see, I think a lot of these I've worked on. All right, so if there's anything else, I'll think some in there. Okay, so if you're good with this, we're going to go ahead and hit apply to the right side of your screen, and that's where you save your search with your county's information. Okay, once this loads, you have 2 tabs here. Quick search, which is like the quick search in Paragon. It's very minimal search criteria boxes and very little you can do with it. I typically don't like to use this unless you need to do something fast. Click on the tab to the right of that. It says My Search. Now you have a lot more options, and actually we can modify what your search boxes are in here. So you look here, first of all, the first box here is save searches. So anything I've saved is in here. So if I have to go back, I can click on them from here. My default new search is what I'm looking at right now. If I want to customize this and adjust it, hit customize search. Okay, and now we're going to go through each one of these sections real quick. The left, right now it's open with everything, but let's go through each one. It's a little bit easier. First thing is owner information. What would you like to see for search criteria boxes? I want the last name, and I also want the full name as well, so I have both options. I've searched properties just by an owner name. Sometimes you'll get a floor call or someone calling about one of your properties, and they tell you they have a property to sell. They give you their name, but they don't tell you where it's at. Well, this is a great way to look them up. So, or you just need to find a house that you can't remember the address, but you know the name, same thing. Check mark, whatever you want. Now, I do have, I've had agents ask me about pulling properties are possibly vacant or rentals. So you can see here where it says owner occupied. So if you're trying to find things that are, whether they're owner occupied or not, this is a great way to do it. So if you're trying to find like rental properties, you can select owner occupied and run a search that way. So you can see ones that are not owner occupied, then you know that they're using them as rental properties. If you're trying to get a hold of them for something like that, you know, that's a great way to. Okay, to the left again, under owner information, let's look at location information. So what do you need to search by? So obviously address is important. If you want to search by city, if you want to search just by the house number and then the street name separately, because sometimes you know the name of the street, but you can't remember the number. So it'll pull every house for you on that street. Property unit, if you're doing condos, you might need something like this, zip code, a subdivision. So I'm actually going to remove one of my other items in here. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to go back to location and I want, oops, my school district. Yep, oh, it's already in here. I find selected. So it is selected already. Okay. And then you can do zoning as well. That's in here. To the left, back under location information is characteristics. Let's take a look at that. So under characteristics, what will you be searching? Now, keep in mind that even if you don't select one of these boxes, when you pull the property information, all the information is going to be there for you. This is just what are you searching by? Square footage, acres, bedrooms, bathrooms. If you want to run a search using any of this foundation, again, you have someone looking for pools, you can run it that way. Living square footage, lot size, story style. So select whatever you would like to have for search boxes, and then we're going to go to left again and go to listing information. Now, if you want to search MLS records, you can search things by a listing agent, a sold date, a status, so if you want to pull your actives, expired. If you want to do expired, you'll want your expiration date. I always make sure my status date is in here because that way I can put in expired and put it in there, or withdrawn and put in the date. You can also do price. So again, you have different ways of searching. So whatever you think you would need, go ahead and select that. And you can always come back and adjust this again. Under listing information, assessment and taxes, do you want ones that are homestead? Here's another way to find out if they're homestead properties or non-homestead. So are they living in them or are they not? They do options for ones that are delinquent as well, by SEV and so forth. So left again, sales information. I like to find by the document date, not by the recording date, because again, depending how busy, it could be 30, 60, 90 days before the recording days in the county. To the left again, under sales information, foreclosure and distress properties. If you want to run a search on those, you can. Actually, I probably should remove one of these, and that way I can add in my distress. So if I want to include my distress sales, and when I want to search by that, you can. And the last thing is mortgage information. I love this. I can search properties that are owned by a bank by putting in the bank name. So I can put Chase Bank, and it will pull up properties for me that are owned by Chase Bank. So there's great ways to search in here. So again, just make sure you have the ones selected you want, and then you can save them. If you want to save them, make it your default. It will. And then if you want to just apply it, you can just hit apply and it just saves it for now. Okay, so I'm going to close my customized search on the top right. And now it should have reloaded your search here. And and one other thing, I'm going to go back really quick to show you is once you do have everything selected, you can adjust in what order they're at. So for example, if I want my address more to the top, you just left click and drag it and move it where you'd like it. So your name, address, like on me again. Move this down here. Like certain things like is more important to me is addresses, maybe my school district. You know, that stuff is information that I want more toward the top. Characteristics about the house itself, you know, interior things, I don't need all those because a lot of times I don't fill those in anyway, so I like those more toward the bottom. Okay, so this will give you, I'm going to my owner last name, there's full name and then last name. Okay, so now I'm going to apply, and that should adjust the order. So let's run a search in here. So whatever you'd like to run, you can use my property again, which I'm going to put the address in. 31029. Now, if you're putting in the address, you can see now it's going to start pulling up that properties. I'm going to click on it. It's going to drop it in, and you're going to hit search right underneath it. Loads. Oh, I'm going to change over here the view. So once it loads, you have this. You should have this view, and there's different options here to look at it. But this is a split view. So you have your map and your list. If you look at the top right of your screen here, there's the option just to see the map and the option to see the list. So I like to see both. It does show you your parcel here. And if you click on this parcel, it's going to pull up a little balloon for you. It's going to show you the property address, the owner name, tax ID, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, what is sold for, and the sale date. Now, if you look here, they've got these little rulers. It's your parcel dimensions. This is ideal for an irregular shaped property, and it's great for vacant land. So I use this, especially if I'm listing a vacant lot. This is really good. So again, this information, like I said, is great information. So if you click on that little parcel, you actually have photos in here as well. So if you want to take a look at the photos of this property, you can see my listing pictures. We're going to get this to load here in a second. If it's going to load. So it wants to run a little slow here for me today, and my Wi-Fi is on. So I'm not sure why it's forever. I don't have too many photos, but I might have. I don't remember how many I put on this one. Big part of it. And then the other thing it'll show on here to the right, there'll be a little piece of paper. If yours loaded already, you can click on that. That's a property that listing on it. So it's supposed to pull the MLS report. Here we go. And I've got 48 photos, so not too bad. But anyways, if you click on it, then you can take a look at all the photos. And then again, great way just to compare properties. Now, to see the full report again, like we did earlier, by clicking on the link from the listing, all you do is double click on that. Now you're right where we were before when we started with the listing in Paragon and clicking on the link. So you're back to all the information in there in regards to the property itself, and then comparables are right to the right of it. So if I click comparables again, it's going to walk me through those same steps again like we did earlier, which since we went through that, I don't want to waste too much time on that since there's a lot more I want to show you. So, and let's see here. So I'm going to take you back, and you've got a back button here to the left. So sometimes if you hit your back arrow up here, it might boot you out. So just hit the back button, and that should take you right. Okay. So that is how you can run a search just by searching here in our search box on the left side, and your search is here. Now I want to take you into the map. There's so many options you can do in the map itself. So we're going to go ahead and go through the mapping and the tools that we have up here. But in order to do that, I'm going to clear everything on my map first, and I'm going to make my map view bigger. So first thing I'm going to do is here where it says clear all by the search. I'm going to hit that. And then it should remove everything. And then I'm going to close this box here on the left for my searching. There's an arrow, so it says multiple county selected, change county, and then there's a double arrow. I'm going to click that because that's going to minimize that for me. You can reopen it by hitting the magnifying glass, but for now I just want your view of my map bigger so it's easier for you to see it. And then my other option, again, as I told you earlier, is that you can do the split view, the map view, and the list. So let's just do map right now. We're going to get rid of the list at the bottom. And then to reopen that, you just go ahead and click split again. So let's look at, I'm going to close that out. Let's look at our map and all the tools we have. So to the right, underneath where it says the split map and list, there's a plus and minus. So the minus will zoom out, and then the plus will zoom in. Now, as I work on these different features that you've got here, the little tools, Some you'll have to zoom in, some you'll have to zoom out. It will tell you zoom in, zoom out. So you'll have to, go back in here and click on these so you can either get closer or further because it won't load the results otherwise. So when we go through them, I'll show you that. So we can relocate our map to whatever area we want. So if you go to the top left here, you're going to go over to where it's got like a little map and a balloon on top of it. So it's going to be the clear all, there's a balloon, there's a ruler, and then it's going to be your location. So click on that, and I can type in an address, a zip code, a city, and it will pull it for you. So let's just go ahead and we'll switch this. Let's do Sterling. Here, click on it, and it's going now to relocate to Sterling Heights, and it's just zoomed out. Have to close it off. All right, so let's start off with our tools to draw on the map. So the tools are very similar to Paragon. You go all the way to the left, the pencil, click on that. You have your circle, your radius tool, your rectangle tool, which will do a square or rectangle shape, and your polygon tool, which will do different lines to create whatever odd shape you need to. So what we're going to do is start off with the very first one that says radius tool, and you're going to click in the middle of an area. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I'm kind of far away here and I don't want to make too big of an area. And then let's say, for example, I'm over here at like 18 in Mound area. So I'm going to click in the middle of Mound and 18. And then you're going to move your mouse out, create your shape, and you're going to click again to complete it. So it's just basically 2 clicks, one to start in the middle and another one to stop it. So you've got your circle here. Once you have your shape, if you click on it, you can rename it. You can delete it from here. You can see how far out I went. So I went about a mile. Now, the nice thing about this one is you can reshape it on the sides here. If I get it smaller, or if I decide it's not big enough, I can make it bigger. But the circle is the only one that you can move on your map. So I can go here in the center where there's a little white circle and I can drag it. So for example, I want to be over by Rochester Road. I can drag it over to that area. So the other shapes do not allow you to do that. I'm going to delete the shape. So again, just to do this one really quick, it's the pencil, radius tool, click once to start it, click again to create it, and then click on it to delete it. Okay, next one under the pencil is our rectangle tool. And I find I use this one probably the most. This is the polygon. So let's go over here where Rochester Road is and 19. I'm going to start here in this corner. You're going to go from corner to corner. So left click, drag it out, and click again, and that creates your shape. So this again, you can now resize it. So you have the corners and the sides. So I can go longer here, or I can take the corner and pull it out completely. Cannot be moved. So if you need to be over a little bit more, I would just suggest like dragging these out to where you want, and then you can drag it back in here, make it smaller. All right, and then again, you can name it. And to name it, if you have multiple shapes, you might want to name them just, if you're trying to point something out on the map. I'm going to delete that. Okay, so the next shape, the last one, which again, I seem to use this one quite frequently, is going to be your polygon tool. And this is great if you are trying to map or try to draw a map around an area that is, what do you call this? That is not, what do you call it? Like, good example would be like, there's a railroad, say, for example, or you want to be east of a main street, or you have a brand new sub in an area and you don't want to pull properties in that. I use the polygon when I have to draw an odd shape, basically is what it comes down to, because in order to get what I need for result-wise. So I'm going to zoom in here really quick, and let's do on here. So let's say over here by like 17 and or you know what, let's do here because we've got Van Dyke right here. I'm going to go around it. So I'm going to actually zoom out a little bit, and you've got your curve here. So this is an odd area. So this is always good. I'm going to go here at like 19 amount. And what you're doing is you're drawing lines. So when you click, it starts your line. You can see the lines here. And you're going to just keep clicking every time you need to change the direction of the line. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to click this. And I'm going to go down here. Now I want to go around Van Dyke because I don't want anything east. I just want west of Van Dyke. So every time you can see, every time I click, it's going to stop and I can change the direction I'm going. So let's say we go here, I come across back to Mound and back up. Start point is your end point. So now I've got my shape, and you can see it's that shape. Now every time you clicked, it created these little circles. So now I can adjust this by using these circles. I can drag it side here. I can drag it over here as well. All right. So again, this is great if you got to do an odd shape. And if you click on it again, you can delete it or rename it. We can't move it. So it's a shape. Okay. So if you do create a shape, then you're going to hit search and run that search. Now you're going to want your split view so you can see your list, which we'll do one later and you'll be able to see that. But I want to get through the tools on the map first. There's so many. Okay, so we're done with drawing. And again, it's pretty similar to Paragon. So if you do the map drawings on there, it should be about pretty simple for you. Next is boundaries. To the right of the pencil, click on boundaries. Now, one thing you'll notice with mine, I've got parcel selected, and then here's your magnifier. So you can see it says zoom in. So parcel lines, I have mine as a default. They're always on. The reason I like those is because if I'm looking at the map, let's zoom in. I'm going to show you what it's going to do. Just going to take, you get closer, it's going to draw every parcel line for you. So I'm sitting with my client, they say, you know, that house at the corner of my street, I don't know the address, but I think that one just sold. Can you take a look at it? Or that one's just listed. So I come over here, like where Altward is, which is this corner house. Now I click on that parcel. Now here's all the information. So it's an easy way to pull up a property without having to know the address, you know, and you can just look at the map and find it. I do like having that on. I always keep it as my default. You don't have to, but I do. So if you just want it, if it's not on, you can turn it on and again, zoom in if you want to see those parcel lines. Now you have other options like the neighborhood, the zip code by city. Actually, I just did this the other day. My client wanted me to draw maps in certain cities to search. So if I click on city here, I can zoom out, which you will need to zoom out. You won't see many lines come in until you do. And then give it a minute. It will take a minute to actually draw. I got to get some of there. You can see the cities are coming in. And then you can see where their borders are as well. So all these green lines basically is going to be your different cities. So here's Troy is on the side, Sterling Heights is on the side. Another really good one, I'm going to uncheck city, is school district. If you have a client that says, you know, we're in Troy, yeah, I need to stay in Troy district, school district, they don't have school of choice, or Grosse Pointe, that's another one that does not have school of choice. You can run searches within those boundary lines, and you can do that in Paragon as well. So you can come in here and just basically, here's Utica, and I can draw my map now to have that and save it and just run searches within that area. Okay. So under boundaries as well, you have options for all the pools and flood zones. Flood zones will actually color your map and give you the flood zone areas. So again, just like we saw earlier with the female information, it's going to do the same for you here as well. Okay, I'm going to uncheck that. So if you leave everything check marked, it's really hard to get it. Okay, to the right of there, it's going to give you property sales and for different ones. So distressed properties, for example. If I want to see what's distressed in the area, say I want to see the auction, bank owned. I don't really see many auction homes go up, but short sales and bank owned. Now you can see I have the magnifier with a plus sign, so I have to zoom in. I'm not going to see anything, so I'm going to zoom in. It will take a minute to load, but those little balloons will pop up, the different color ones, and it will tell you what they are. And you can see there's quite a few here, which is surprising. I feel like I don't see as many, but these are short sales. So if I click on these, for example, that's this one here. It looks like it sold in 2007. It was a short sale, which back then I was doing many of those. Don't miss those at all. So short sales, and you can see here, it gives you the color codes and what each one is. So your auction ones are yellow. So again, like I said, I haven't seen many yellow auction homes. So this is one here. So it's kind of good information. Like I said, oops, I think I clicked the wrong one. There it is. This is the one. It looks like it sold in 2022 and it was auctioned. So it's probably tax. I'm guessing a tax foreclosure. And it went to auction with the county. Bank owned, short sales again. So they're all in here. So the nice thing about this map, whenever you add something to it, and you move the map, it just reloads. So right now I had selected this distressed properties. You can see all the balloons will keep loading for me every time I move the map around. So that is makes it a little bit easier. Back over to our sales here. I'm going to uncheck these. Those all out. You have an option to see sales and value. So tax sales, if you want to see anything as tax sales, you can go 3 months back. You can go 6 months back, 9 months back. So if you want to see the more recent sales, you can do it this way. So tax sales is going to give you for sale by owner sold. and it's going to also give you ones that sold in the MLS. Let's see if there's, I want to find one that's for sale by owner still to see what information I can see on it. So let's see if any of these are, let's see any of these. So we'll have to find one that does. I just want to see if we can see the original list price on it. It looks to see that these are all MLS sales. So that was what I need to know. But we'll find one. As soon as one pops up that does, we'll take a look at it again and double check that. Okay, so let's go back to our little pin here. Let's remove short sales. Let's remove sales. Okay, MLS status. Do I want to see things that are expired in the last 3 months? Go ahead and click on that. Now, what I do suggest, if you put expired, make sure you have actives, because it could have expired and went back on the market. So if you're doing this to farm or to contact owners, just make sure you're double checking to make sure that they're not expired and, you know, back on the market. If they are, they don't want to be contacting them. They're currently listed. So you could do, actually, probably be easier to do expired first. And here, so you can see them. Because I'm guessing the balloons are going. Maybe. Not a minute here and see if I can find any. Here. Yep, these are all, looks like these are, let's see if you get any information on these. And then you could always, oh, this shopping center is a commercial. Then you could always just run a search too. You can run them here, and put the address in. But again, if you're farming, you just want to make sure that you're not sending information to a seller that is currently listed with another agent. Okay, so let's go into our pin again here. I want to remove our status. And the last thing is property characteristics. So one thing in here, which I always thought was really interesting, if you want to find names, quick way to do it, I can click owner name, and every property you're viewing on the map will pop up with every owner's name. Last name, of course, it's going to be first and last, but then you can click on it and see, obviously, they're that you can see here. So if you can't remember your neighbor's name, this is a great way to find their name really quick, I guess. So, but it does give you all the names. So let's turn that off, because again, it's really hard to see anything with all those on, so just hit none. Okay, to the right of there, let's look at some more statistical information, basically. So you have an option to put in here for, say, number of homes in foreclosure in an area. And it does give you an option to do the aggregation level. So do you want zip code or neighborhood? And then it will ask you, do you want residential or condo, or if you want both? And then your opacity will either make it lighter or darker. So depending, you know, you just want to make sure that you can still see the properties. If you go too dark, sometimes it's read it. But for this area, it's saying that there's less than 25. And again, as you move your map, it will adjust as well. But that's what this does, is different trends in the area. So we're going to put none and get rid of our shading. Okay. To the right of that, your binoculars. This will allow you to find points of interest. So for example, if your client says, can you see how far the schools are from, you know, the house? You can select education, and you should start seeing some graduation caps pop up. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and it's going to show you different schools. So there's a Montessori, here's Chippewa Valley High School. There's IA. So again, you can click on that to get the information, and you know, that way you can see if it's near the house that they're looking at. Okay, to the right of your binoculars, your citation, you have a car. If you want to run directions, so say your client wants to know how far is their house, that house, from school, the property address, you know. And say, or they want to do it to their work address, you know, real source. Say they work at my real source and they want to find out. So I hit get directions, and it will give them directions, and it will show them. It will get directions. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. And we'll get directions and show them, you know, the distance and everything from there. So again, if you need that for some reason, you can get it right from here. All right. Let's clear this. Okay, to the right of that, again, a ruler, that's your measurement tool. I haven't honestly used this, but again, I guess if you need to measure something, you can. but that's what it really does. Let me zoom in here, but it does do like measurements. So say the house is here and the school is here, maybe, I guess you could do that. And if you click on it, it tells you it's 1.2 miles. So if you need to measure distance, that's what that does. And then you have this little annotation tool. So if I want to put a little balloon here, if I'm creating this map and I'm sending it to my client, come on. Usually it lets me select it. I'm not seeing them come in. Are they coming somewhere else? I'm not seeing them. Oh. Usually you can click on it, creates a balloon, and then you can type in it. That's what you're supposed to do. But it doesn't want to work for me for some reason. I have no idea. Oh, there it is. It came in finally. There it is. Okay. And then you can type whatever you want. So if you want to show something on the map, you can type whatever it is. Okay. So that is all of our tools for the map. Are there any questions to this point? Because I know I went through a lot. I'm probably overloading everybody. I'm going to look at the questions right now really quick to see if I missed any. Okay, and it looks like it. I have to leave early, so no problem. We should have another Realist class next month, I believe. I'm not sure. If you look on the education, you should be able to get into the education folder and look in there for upcoming classes or check the calendar. It should have it in there. I honestly don't remember right now if we did book it for next month, but I believe we did. So yes, I'm sorry if you do miss a class. This will be recorded as well. So make sure that you follow us on YouTube and you can view the different videos. Colleen's great. Within a day or so, she has those videos up. There's some from my classes previous, so you can go to any one of them and view them, and that will help. And then those handouts, don't forget, those are in there, and those are also in Paragon. I'll show you. Okay, so I don't see any other questions at this point. So I am going to take you into a few other things to search in here real quick. So let's get rid of everything on here. So there's a clear all. So I'm going to hit clear all real quick. Move everything on a map. Close this out. And then I'm going to go back to my split view. And then I'm going to open up my search criteria box on the left. So I hit split and then to the left, that magnifier. Now, what I'm about to show you is running labels. So this is one of my favorite parts of Realist. If you want to send out mailers, just sold, or if you want to farm an area, you can pull property addresses in here, get their address, create a label, and it does not cost you anything. You are allowed 5,000 labels per month with no charge. So if you are paying for things like that, I mean, unless you've got something that it's set up a certain way and you want to stay with it, that's great, but you don't have to. Again, this is such a great feature and it's paid for, with our membership. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to find an area. So for example, I just sold that house on Brett's. And so I'm going to say I want to send out just sold. Let's go over, I'm going to go back to my little map here with the balloon. I'm going to type in the property address, and then I'm going to draw around that street so we can get those. Okay, here we go. So let's go ahead and draw. Let's do, let me see, so let's zoom out a little bit so I can get a little bit more of the street, and then I'm going to draw right here. So I'm going to use, actually, because they're close to Chicago Road, I'm going to use a pencil with the polygon tool, so that way I don't want to go west of Chicago because then you get some of the bigger homes over there. So I'm going to go in here. Let's see if it'll let me go to Hoover. So you just have to be careful. Sometimes if it's too many results, it might tell you might have to. So actually go to Chicago on my district, and then I can roam by Chicago. Okay, so here is my map. Now I have to hit search. So I'm going to go to the left and hit search, and it's going to pull the properties for me. Alrighty, I actually got them. So I have 696 houses selected. This is the best. I absolutely love this. So what you can see here is the names and the property address. Now, because of the location and I'm right by main streets, it may have pulled some businesses. So if you don't want the businesses, it automatically selected everything, but like Maple Lane Homes, I can uncheck that. So that way it doesn't create that label. So if you want to take a quick look, you can, and just uncheck things that are not, like City of Warren. I really don't want to send mailers to City of Warren, but and as you, and then you can just remove them. Once you're ready, at the bottom, you can see here it says labels. So you're going to click on labels. It's going to ask you what type of label. So your typical mailing label is your Avery 5160. It does not have to be an Avery label. You can get any of the store brands, and they're going to do the same thing, and they're pretty much the same setup. So you're going to select what your label size is. So there should be 30 labels to a sheet. You can use mixed case, which means do I want upper and lowercase letters, or do I want all in capital letters? Well, I like to use upper and lowercase, so I keep it that way. Where do you want to send it? Do you want to send it to the property address? Well, if it's a rental, their tenants are going to throw it away. So I would use tax billing address, so it goes to the owner. Do I want to include the current owner? Do you want to create a custom label? You can. Do you want to eliminate duplicate labels? You can do that as well. So you can see here, you're allowed 5,000, it will deduct it. Now, the minute you hit create, it's going to deduct that 693. It's the end of the month, so I really don't care. So I'm going to create it for you so you can see it. But it does deduct it. So if you're one that are planning on doing more than 5,000 or doing 5,000 labels a month, then I wouldn't create it until you're ready to create. And it's going to create a Word document for you. And it's going to download it. So just download it. I'm on Firefox, so download it at the top. If you're on Chrome, it will drop it in the bottom here. So I'm going to open it up and maybe take a look at it. And then you can modify it in here. So then I can adjust to the size I want, the font, and so forth. Once it's loaded, I will show it to you. Okay, so as you can see, I'm going to enable it. And here, it's kind of small. I don't like it this small, so I always make my font size bigger. So to do, you basically all of them and go up here to the font, 12 point, there you go. If you want them centered, you can do that as well. Oops, yeah, this one's for some reason. Yeah, let me center them, so we'll just keep them. Now be careful though, you can see like this one, the name is really big. So if I keep it at 12 points, it's going to cut off some of the information. So I'm going to go down a little. That's perfect. Okay, that fits. So that's much better. And then if I don't like this font, I can go in here and change the font. So, and then what I typically will do is I will print one just the way it is. I can notes by it, and then I'll keep one and I'll make labels with it. So I'll print one just regular paper. So if they come back to me, if I get undeliverable or whatever it might be, I can just I can make notes on here as well. Now you can. I'm going to minimize this real quick. You can also export it to a Excel spreadsheet. So if that's an easier way for you to keep track, but it will deduct it from your total. But again, I don't know many people that do 5,000 a month, but you might. I mean, that's great if you do. I don't have time to do it, but I would love to. This will let you customize it to what you want to include. So obviously you want the owner name on here. So let's say the owner name. And then you're going to want the location information. So you're going to want the address here, I think. And I'm going to set them up in I'm not going to be doing. I have time right now to do labels, but and it creates a CSV file for you. Okay, so it should have dropped it. Here, perfect. There's my CSV file. Let's open it up. Well, right there. Okay. Okay, so it's right here. You can see, and I'm probably going to have to, I didn't include everything I needed. So it only included the street address. It did not include city and zip, so I'm going to have to select those separately. But you've got the information here, which is nice. I mean, they're all Warren, so I really could just put Warren on there anyways. But then I can make notes on these. So now as a spreadsheet, I'll save it, and then come back in and make notes. I can put the date in when I send things, if I'm sending them quarterly or whatever I'm doing. And that's about it. So we, let me see, is there any questions here? So we have gone through the labels. Let's go back. Here, let's get this back. And just checking that I answer all the questions. So we have done, oops, we did all the labels, so we went through all of that. We've done all the searching. The only thing left is I want to take you into settings. But at this point, is there any other questions? I believe I've answered everything. The only thing I have not found yet, and I will still look into that, is the for sale by owners if it does show a list date. So I wish I knew of a property address for sale by owner that I could use right now offhand. But I will try, if we have enough time, I'll run it again just before we end. Okay, so let's look at settings now. I'm going to help you set up like your search and everything that we looked at earlier. So if you go to the very top of your screen to the right, there is a question mark and then there's a little gear. Click on your gear. That's going to take us into our settings. So let me walk you through all these setting options. First thing is for search. Do you want it to auto open your detail report when there's only one result? So if I run a search and there's only one listing, do I want to automatically open to the full property detail report, or do I just want to see that one line report, which I prefer the one line report, but if you would like to see the full report, you can check mark it. But I keep the one line and I double click and I go into it. Do I want to include mailing label addresses that are on the do not mail list? So if you want to include those, you can check mark that. Do you want to include unmatched sales transactions? So if you have properties that don't match sales, they're older, say for example, but then so if I want things that are older than 24 months or 6 months or 12 months, it will include those when you get your results. So if you don't want to include these, just keep that on check mark. How many properties do you want to view in your grid? You have 3,000 is your max, but if you want to see less, you can. Okay, so go to the left again where it says reports. So you have two options for reports, fixed and dynamic. Fixed will only include things that, or fixed will include everything. So for example, when you run a search and you get the results and you're looking at that property detailed report, if you've got boxes that have no results, like so no information on it, do you want to include those boxes? So do you want to say below grade square footage? If there's no result for it, they don't know what it is, it's blank. Do you still want it to say below grade square footage, or do you want to remove that line completely? So I keep mine as fixed, so everything is on there. Dynamic will remove those. Comparable report. How many comps do you want to see? 50 is the max, so you can change that number. How do you want it sorted? Sale price or square footage or by distance or reporting date? You want to include property images? Absolutely. So the one thing I didn't go through, honestly, I meant to show you, when we looked at the report, when you're doing that report for your client, the one thing that they will not see is interior photos for the comparables, which is the one thing that I really want them to change. I hope that they can change eventually. So you get all the interior photos for the subject property, but your comps only show the front view. So you'll be able to look at them before you include them, but when you create that report, it removes those interior photos. So that's the only thing I don't like. So I always include property images, of course. And then if you want the automated values or not, you can remove those. Some of the stuff you want to keep you don't want to turn it on. So for example, pool, you're not going to have every property with a pool. So always put no preference and then adjust it for each property that you're working on. How far do you want to go? Well, if you work in the city, you probably want to go 1 mile. If you are up north, more in rural areas, where you have to go miles to find houses, you'll want to change that. Sale price, year built, bedrooms, stories, I keep those off. So again, you're going to adjust those as needed. Tax distress sales, I want to include all my tax sales. So I'm getting my distress sales as well and my for sale by owners. As far as the boundary lines and site influence, like if they're waterfront or if they're the same subdivision and so forth, I keep those all turned off as well. I'll adjust those as needed. I want to see by sales date, not recording date. How far back do you want to go? Right now, I'm going to keep mine on 6 months because we're in a crazy time of market. If things are moving so quick, you can really get to them. So again, that'll be changed as time goes on. And then square footage. So I want to go 20% above and below my subject property. I don't do a lot of acreage, so I leave that at none. And then land use, make sure it says same as subject, and then you can always add single family or condo, as you do it. I do more single family, and then I just adjust it as needed. And again, I skip this section of the file. Under there, it says neighbors report. If you open that up, you have an option of adding 30 neighbors, but if you want less neighbors to show up in your report, you can. How far do you want to go? 3 miles is the maximum. I have mine at 1 mile. And where do you want it to be? So I have mine as the same street, but if you want the same zip code, same city, same sub, you can select any of those as well. And I want to include the property images. Now my neighborhood profile reports, how far do you want to see businesses? It allows you to see businesses in the area. So from the subject property, you can go up to 10 miles. How many do you want per category? So I have up to 10. And then this is what's available. So anything you don't want to see, these are all selected right now. You can uncheck them, or you can just hit the X and it removes them. So these are the ones that will be in the report. Distance from subject property, I've got 3 miles as well. I want private and public schools, and then whatever type of schools you want to include will be here as well. Okay, and that's it. So those are, let's go to the bottom right corner and hit Save Changes. So I don't want you to lose any of this. And then last two things we've got map. If you want to include your parcel lines always, sign on, and then hit Save Changes. If you don't want it on, you don't have to. And your very last thing is your email signature. So if you want to create it, you can create it right in here. You're going to type in name, whatever information you want to put in here, and save it. And again, the only options you have in here is changing the font, the size. You can make it bold, italicized, underline it, the color, and then how you want it set up, if it's centered or left justify or whatever you want to do. And I think that's it. So I have gone through a lot. I'm sure I've overwhelmed everybody. Is there any questions to this point or anything you'd like me to show you again? I do have a few minutes, so if I can try to locate a for sale by owner, I'm going to right now, just so we can look at that. That's one thing I didn't get a chance to look at. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. If you didn't download the handouts from here or you need other handouts, in Paragon, under MLS documents here in the top, and you're going to go under education. So wherever the education folder is, which is under MLS, here's the education. If you click on that, we've got 79 handouts. These are step-by-step guides with screenshots. So it's very simple. So just click on them. It's going to save it for you. And then when you open it up, you're going to see, it's going to give you the information, tells you how to do it, and so forth. So we have all kinds of great handouts. So these are a great way if you need to go through this again. But I'll tell you right now, with Realist or anything that we show you in here, the more you use it, the easier it's going to get. So instead of waiting another week or two to get back on here, tonight when you're sitting around watching TV, just play with it. You're not going to break it. Just go through, run through some things, run some searches, figure out how to do your labels, whatever you want to do in there. But that way it will stay fresh in your mind. It'll be easier for you to go back when you need to actually do something and get to it right away. So, well, if you don't have any questions or don't want to see, as far as the for sale by owners, you're welcome to log off anytime. I'm pretty much done with the class. I'm just going to look right now if I can find a for sale by owner, just to check if it will show a list price compared to sale price. I'd like to do that. So let me see. Just bear with me here. And again, anyone else, like I said, if you don't want to stay on, you're welcome to log off. And I really appreciate everyone coming to the class today and get us some more listings. We desperately need it. It's so bad out there. Let's see if I can find, I think I'm going to go by Homestead. Let's see if it lets me. I'm going to put, well, Homestead's not going to do anything for me, so I want for sale by owner. Let me see if I can find it by. I wish they had a button that just said for sale by owner that we could use. It would make it so much easier. But I don't know if I have this price in here. Let's just do this. Let's go back to my customized search. And let's go to sales information. I just want the sales price instead of MLS sales price. I have it here. I thought if I did it that way, it's not good. So I don't have anything in there. So let's, I'm just going to search an area real quick. There's got to be some for sale by owners over here. So let's see what I can just try here and see if so I'll just go right to so there's something in here that's a for sale by owner. And then I'll look on here because then I can look at the list which shows MLS sale price and MLS sale price. So that's really the difference. MLS sold price means it was listed by that. Sale price means it was listed for sale by owner. Okay, sale price, sale date. Let's see if the last one, because it looks like it was sold in the MLS as well. Where's that? location, owner. So this was a banner. It must have been because I don't see listing information on here. So see, I don't think it does. I think it's only going to give me my sale price because it doesn't have an option for listing because it's not listed in the MLS. So I can't remember who asked that question. So if you are looking at for sale by owners, you're not going to see, oh, here it is. Yep, so you're only going to see MLS information. You're not going to see if it was ever listed, when it was listed by owner, sale price. Yeah, so I have a sale price here, but I don't see a list price. So hopefully that answers your question. You can see a sale price for sale by owner. You cannot see the list price for it. All right, so I think we have got through everything plus some. So again, if anybody has questions, it looks like there's Richard. I don't know if you're still on. I can unmute you. Text to search no basement. I don't see a way. I believe that you can. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Thought that you can. Thought there was an option for basement under search criteria boxes. Oh, let me look and see. Because I think you can put basement yes or no. It's a foundation. You have foundation option right here. So there's a list of it, and it looks like you can do basement, concrete, crawl space, and should be slab in here as well. Slab, yeah. So you can. So just go to the foundation, and that's how you can search with that. So hopefully that answered your question. And then anybody else on here? Angeline, I think I got. Yeah, so Angeline, hopefully you heard me earlier about YouTube. If you go to our YouTube page, you can see all of these live webinars that were recorded. So, and we also have video recordings on My Realist as well. You can just see recording from there as well. But the YouTube has all of these live classes that we've been doing. Let's see, anybody else here? And we did, Donna did, he left already, and Cindy left already. Okay, so it looks like I answered all the questions. So hopefully this was helpful. Richard, if you have another question, I can unmute you. Are you still, let me see. You can unmute yourself. So if you do have another question, unmute yourself and please, let me know what it is. I am happy to answer any other questions that you have. Let's see. Okay, so I think we are all done. So we just finished with a couple minutes to spare. So I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry if you're totally overwhelmed. I know there was a lot here. So you are welcome to take this as often as you would like. So, Richard, did you have a question still? No. Alrighty, so thank you so much for joining the class today. I hope it was helpful. And again, hopefully we will see you in some of our other classes. And thanks again. Have a great day. Get some more listings for us. And hope everyone enjoys. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a cool off. This weather's a little hot. So have a good one. Thank you so much.